Sahanavavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Jai Ma, welcome to the satsang. In the last satsang, we had deliberated upon how to approach Brahman, and we were glad to hear that the Nirguna, Nirvikara, Ekaha Brahman is available to us in our Vyavharika empirical reality as Saguna Brahman, or the Brahman in the form of Ishvaraha or Bhagwan with qualities. And these qualities can be based upon the culture, the region, the collective memory of a people, of how they would wish to worship Bhagwan. And this Bhagwan is the God of this Jagat, and is definitely someone this Jiva who dwells in this Jagat can appeal to. And this appealing can also begin with the first stage, which is of a ritualistic, symbolic, formalized prayer, the Shraddha stage, the stage of faith. And then it moves from there, or it doesn't remain there for a student of Advaita Vedanta, but it is actually the taking off part, or the taking off plane into the next level of worshipping God, Bhagwan, who is none other but Brahman, in the way we with our limited faculty can even cognize and understand Brahman as Bhagwan. We can worship Bhagwan not just with the idol on our altar, or the photo on our altar, or the lamp that we light, or the different rituals of the different religions. But we begin to see this God everywhere. Now this whole Jagat, this whole world has become the body of God. This is a very unique paradigm shifting approach towards seeing God. And in this process, we begin to understand that what we like or dislike is merely occurring from within, because what is not so pleasurable is really needing to teach us how not to detest it and react to it. And what is so pleasurable is an opportunity from Bhagavan to remain somewhat relaxed and detached from it. So we start the sadhana of not getting caught up in Ragadvesha. We cannot fight it. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 3 has explained that Ragadvesha are eternal. Every object in this world will evoke from us Raga or Dvesha. Every object, living or non-living, if it elicits from us for a time Raga or attachment, love, devotion, temporary, it will remain temporary, because sooner or later it will pull in aversion. It just happens. These are the two states of the reaction. This is a setup. But once we begin to see this whole Jagat and all its occurrences and population, from the smallest little insect to the beautiful, magnificent human being, we begin to understand that the Lord has appeared as the Jagat to give me an opportunity to interact, and every interaction be a mindful interaction, a conscious interaction, a sacred interaction. And from this stage of bhakti or devotion, we are able to land finally into the jnana state, or the state of knowledge. In this knowledge, what happens is, by our faith and through the actions of dharma or appropriate action towards the Jagat, we become so purified that new knowledge does not have to be learned, but in the act of the previous two, knowledge of the true self, which is none but Bhagavana, and Bhagavan is none but Atman, Atman is none but Brahman, starts revealing itself. This is not knowledge that is intellectualized. This is knowledge that is experienced. It is a known. And at that time, whether we worship the outer altar, whether we forgive a sinner because we know that this is all the play of God consciousness, or whether we close our eyes and take a nip from that sweetness that is emerging, the fountain of godliness from within, it's all in the grand play of Brahman. So we proceed, dear students, in this satsang to talk about, if God dwells on my altar, if God is everywhere, if God, you say Shunya, is me, and it's a matter of time and I will know it, then why am I so unhappy? Why am I walking around so desolate, so lonely, so miserable? Why does happiness only come fleetingly to me? It comes, but sometimes it just goes away. I'm playing hide and seek with it. If I am the royal one, as you say to me, my teacher, then why do I not experience infinite royalhood? And I think if I'm royalty, I should be happy. If this is indeed the play of divine consciousness, then the divine actor, which is me, and the scriptwriter, which is me, and the audience, which is me, we are just playing out one role, and that of the lost one, the miserable one. So today, dear Shishyas, I want to talk to you about happiness. And I will be using the opportunity over this satsang and the next one to clarify to you what truly is happiness, where does it dwell, and what are the obstacles if you are not happy today. Do those obstacles live outside or inside you? How can you identify them? And how can you then onwards really reclaim your birthright to be Satchitananda, to be happy, to be Atman Brahman, and to really live from there? So a very important equation that we must understand, that where we are beginning today, where you are now thinking of happiness, is that, when am I happy? Ask yourself that question. When a desire arises in me for an object, for a person, for a certain situation, like I am promoted, or I get fame, or I have a good audience, or a person, as in I have a certain person in my life. in a certain role, or I have certain objects, material objects that fulfill me. And I believe that when I will have that, I will be happy. And I am. Your experience, dear student, is that you are happy when your desires are fulfilled. In fact, because of being around spiritual folks and literature and information, you may have even changed your desires and their quality from being totally selfish to becoming quite selfless, and from being illegitimate at times. Illegitimate desires are those which are not sanctioned by the society, not because the society is a bag of rules, but because society is a self-preserving organism and it does not sanction desires which threaten its security, its stability. Even a pack of wolves has its own society and its rules. So does a pack of dogs or an elephant. So how can the human society, with its complex egos and sensitivities, not have its own sanctions? However, we have socially approved desires, we have legitimate desires, we have sweet desires, we just have one tiny little occasional desire. But when that desire arises, you become restless. Your happiness ends with the emergence of that tiny desire. If that desire has not been examined, and if it is a humongous desire, has been unmet for a long time, seems to have gathered a lot of energy. In fact, it is only the head of billions of desires that wait in the wings to express their demand. Then also, when it emerges, you stop being happy. Have you seen that? And then off you go, trying to somehow fulfill that desire. And when you do, some of us are able to, or parts of it, or fractions of it, or all of it if you are lucky, karmically aligned, and it all gets fulfilled, then at that time we have happiness. Even if brief, it is happiness unalloyed. This happiness lasts long enough for us to now start worrying about it, that will this happiness last as long as I last? Will somebody take it away from me? Should I protect it, guard it, be jealous? And it brings within it a host of other desires of protection, guarantee, warranty, continuity, stability, question marks. And then once again, every experience of happiness brings with it and unfolds multitude desires, and with it the loss of unhappiness, the loss of happiness. So let us investigate what happened. Why were we happy for a brief moment? What can we do to be happier for more moments? What can we do to possibly be happy all our moments as a jiva on this particular plane of existence? In that moment, when you were experiencing that peak of happiness, your mind, Manas, actually got relaxed. And the moment the mind relaxed, it was no longer morphing into the shape of the desired object or event or situation. And the moment it relaxed, it actually had no identity of its own except its master, the self. And yourself is the source and substance, its swarupam is pure happiness. So what you actually experienced was not all the drama before and the data keeping, the Excel sheet in the mind, but the relaxation of the mind, the collapsing of the mind, the non-substantiveness of the mind for a brief moment of achievement. It just took a breath, a half a breath, to say, okay, I have it. And so the mind didn't feel like it needed to go do, search, query, quest. And as it relaxed just a little bit, nothing was left but to collapse and touch this infinite happiness, which is your true nature. This happiness came from the self, and the mind could allow you to experience it because the mind at that moment had no competing content, no distraction, nothing. So in that instant, the self, which lacks nothing, which wants nothing, whose nature is pure love, fulfillment, freedom, eternalness, and sheer happiness, from within you gifted your jiva. So that moment of transaction of happiness is not really the outer achievement, but actually the touching of the jiva with the authentic Atman, inner self. Your adaptive self, mind / ego, receiving a gift from its original Atman self, whose basic nature is happiness. Just like fire's nature is light and heat, Atman's nature is happiness. But then very quickly we forgot, we did not remember that we have infinite happiness within us. And after a moment of experience, inexplicable happiness, we begin to worry about the loss of happiness, to protect it, to fear that someone else will take it from us, the new desire to control the situation, and soon the mind has become a very, very convoluted, very, very new every moment phenomena, full of thoughts, schemes, plans, questions, doubts, possessiveness, and the self, which is pure happiness, continues to be that. But in this Maya, in this forgetfulness that has happened, off we go looking for water when all water is within us. There is a mirage, we look for it. But if we just turn inwards, we could drink and quench our thirst. But we do not know. So therefore, one reason that we do not experience our happiness of the self is because the mind is busy taking care of its desires. The second reason is that sometimes, without having even a desire, we witness a rainbow. We witness a sunrise. We witness the eyes of a newborn or a dying one. And our mind in awe becomes quiet. And as it becomes quiet, a unique happiness flows through our being at the time of birth and death without judgment, or rising sun or setting sun, or a bird call. And we have this happiness, and we have a momentary lesson from nature that this is objectless happiness. We have no possessiveness or relationship with the call of the bird. We cannot capture and put in the bank the smile or the eyes of the newborn or the dying one. And yet something within us emanates an amazing joy which can only be experienced, cannot be verbalized, but then we forget. The reason for the forgetfulness of the lesson is whether the happiness has come from desire fulfillment or whether it has come just like that, from the sudden interaction of the jiva through jagat and sudden experience because of the sheer beauty and the captivating quality of God through this jagat catches us. The reason we forget is that no matter what kind of happiness, it never stays. And what never stays, it becomes quite marked by its absence, because when it was, it made us so dizzy that off we go looking for it the way we know how to look for it. And so off we go using all of our being, all of our faculties, and crying and choosing drugs, medications, relationships, addictions, and even hospitalization to somehow find happiness. There is a whole genre of teachers who are now selling happiness. It's quite affordable also on credit card debt. We do get a moment of bliss. But no matter how much that bliss is, whether we can afford it or not, that bliss, that joy, that happiness which comes from people, which comes from situations, which comes from events, which comes from objects, in this samsara does not stay. It's a kind of a trick. It's a kind of a trick in this samsara, this Maya-ridden world. Happiness is one's true nature, but we look for it in outside things which are ephemeral. And so we do get pieces of that happiness, but they are super transitory. So we are left panting and gasping for that happiness. Because it's our true nature, we know we deserve it. We know we deserve it. We feel violated when we can't see it around us. We are powerful people, hence when we are ill-treated, we know it, something has gone wrong. Even the most pathetic person who has lost all their power, somewhere deep inside knows something is not right. Because power is our true nature. Similarly, happiness, when we are not happy, we feel justified. We have created science and technology and philosophy and religions and institutions and the social media to somehow search for this happiness in every realm possible. But this happiness is always present. It cannot be removed from you. It is as present as your skin and bones. It's your basic nature. But it is like a little bit hidden. And it takes a satsang to remind you. We'll talk about it, why you forgot in the next satsang. We've been talking about it. So you look for it. Your ancestors have looked for it. Your children are looking for it. Everybody is looking for it. That's the Maya game. But the teacher tells the student, don't look for it. What do you mean stop looking for it? Well, at least stop manipulating the world and squeezing the people around you like fresh oranges for orange juice for few drops of happiness from them. If it's coming, some pleasure is coming from them, let it be so. If some non-pleasure is coming, let it be so. You should not interact in future with the Jagat and its objects and its beings as the bar for your happiness wine. You ain't getting it. Because whatever comes, including happiness, comes with the fear of losing it. It comes with strings attached. It comes with time-bound expiration, and hence it is not happiness, it is happiness compromised. We should call it pleasure mixed with some pain, right away. Even when someone that we may have been waiting to meet or to be proposed a marriage or to be given a lottery ticket or some such pleasures, the moment we get it, for a moment we are awestruck and we experience our inner happiness. But then the moment the mind becomes active again, the lottery ticket winning person says, oh my God, now I have to change my way of life. What will my life be like? Am I worthy of joining the Millionaire Boys Club or not? What will happen? What will not happen? What am I supposed to do? How is this million enough for the lifestyle that I want to lead as a millionaire? The one who has been proposed wonders if this person will always remain true to me. So on and on in a few moments or just a few weeks or a few days or by the time the sun sets, the pleasure has evoked its best friend, the hidden partner, pain. Oh, we smile and we walk to the aisle and we make it a big day. But walking on that aisle has caused so many nightmares and tantrums and deaths and fears and whole phenomena, glittery and gorgeous, with flowers and ribbons. Pleasure. And if this pleasure alone was the truth, then our definition of reality, dear students, it should last in all states of time, past, present, future. But pleasure is time-bound from the Jagat. True happiness, Anandas, Atma Sukha, is beyond time. So pleasure is anitya, ephemeral. It has a life, it has some time. But inner happiness is nitya. It is not bound by anything. So once we recognize that I am in this world because of Tattvajnana or knowledge of Vedanta, through the satsang, through the teachings with the teacher that I am partaking. Even intellectually I realize I am journeying, I am a spiritual being, journeying in this material body, in this Jagat, and it's an interesting jagat. It gives me some pleasure and then it sends some pain along. Because pleasure feels qualitatively nice. I'm a little bit addicted to it. And I've lost myself. So now I can continue to enjoy the buffet of this samsara, this jagat. But I should know that for happiness, I just have to close my eyes. My happiness is not dependent now on anything. This will have to be a position that you will have to do mananam on, contemplation. After you have listened to this today, every moment of your exchange for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and then every moment there onwards, if you make it a habit, would be, I'm a source of infinite happiness. Just an intellectual level right now. Just try it. Because of that, you will end dysfunctional arguments sooner. You will stop taking a victim or aggressor position for love the moment you remember. All kinds of psychopathologies that we are using to manipulate the world for our quota of happiness will gradually fade away. And the doorway to experiencing happiness within is going to be at least, if not opened, then the path to it will begin to be cleared. So I say to you, go straight to the source. You want happiness? Fair enough. After all, if happiness doesn't want happiness, then who wants happiness? Go straight to the source. Stop the mirage. It's a magic show. Stop looking for it outside. Do your duty, your dharma outside. Have friends. Have children. Have partners. Enjoy sex. It's all pleasures. Enjoy food. Enjoy camaraderie. Enjoy some companionship. But for happiness, it's all up to you, inside you, as you. So, the one who has recognized the self crosses all sorrow, says Vedanta. This can be misinterpreted if you just read it by itself, this statement. It means you will never have any sorrow. What? You are a self-realized person and your finger got cut and you are having pain, you have sorrow. That means you are not self-realized. No. Even a Jivan Mukta, unless and until they become, they drop the body and they become fully free of the obligation to be born or born and die, to take on a womb. Until such time, one has to have the body. One is in this jagat, one is in this reality, and one is in the duality of joy and pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain. So even the knowledgeable one will have pleasure and will have pain, but the pain will not affect them, because even in the moment of great pain, they would know where lies Ananda or happiness. And this is the difference between the one who does not have knowledge and one who has it. And one doesn't have to be self-realized to have this experience. One doesn't have to be at that highest level. Even little bits of this knowledge have allowed many of you to take a position of self-determination. You have stopped seeking approval. You have stopped seeking strokes. You have stopped seeking outer titillation to give you pleasures. You are more and more comfortable with your own company, with solitude, with your faculty of silence, just dwelling quietly in nature in a virtuous manner, performing your duties, passing your time in this reality, sitting by the teacher patiently, learning the knowledge and examining it within you. And through all of this, your whole being is glowing more. You are calming down. Your family and friends are saying you are changed. What happened? You actually stopped walking those roads which were giving you pleasure earlier. You actually have become more and more self-sufficient because of the happiness that you are generating for your own self. There's a process to it, where you can actually touch that happiness. We're just only touching the surface. Many people meditate, as I said in the last satsang, and they don't know why they're doing it. They're capturing thoughts, they're trying to look at silence, they are measuring the space between thoughts. Because without the knowledge of Vedanta, meditation is meaningless. It's just closing your senses and trying to mechanically bat a non-stop mind. Mind cannot stop. Just like that. It is the knowledge of what lies beyond the mind that one can meditate and then seek that. And that is happiness. So once we recognize through the satsang, intellectually, that the source of all happiness, myself, is ever present within me and it is not outside, then the outside gradually does not hold so much temptation for me, and nor does it hold a lot of power over me, as in it will withdraw approval, rewards, and the gift of happiness. And thus is born the great phenomena of lone yogis and giants of spirituality who walk their path alone, every day nourishing themselves with their own inner juice of happiness. Where these great teachers were being stoned or hung. But what they uttered was nothing but the gift of the self to the world, which is giving happiness still to the world. Such words they have uttered. Such actions have been accomplished. Such gifts have been distributed. So abiding happiness, it is known as Atma Ananda. That is what is the real happiness. Vishaya Ananda. Vishaya means objects. Your living object or non-living object. It is temporary. It gives some, but it's a different mechanism. Mind wants, mind gets, mind is calm, happiness goes through. Happiness. But what if the mind was always calm and always experiencing sukha from Atma Ananda? Just imagine what that experience will be like. Imagine. Imagine you're walking through a mall full of beautiful objects for free for you to take. One day free for spiritual seekers. Experiment of sukha. Some would say it's really worthwhile. After all, the spiritual journey is very tiring. We deserve a break to pick up all those perfumes and nail polishes and high heels and whatever is in fashion, clothes-wise. Go through it. But in that happiness that they got of the free discount, a lot of the spiritual seekers are now at blows with each other. They have lost all happiness. They are very upset that the spiritual seekers of the other ashram have lined up before us. They are ready to break the gates because they believe now that their happiness is lying in those things inside that shopping complex. Vishaya Bhoga leads to very some kind of a happiness, but it's a different route and it has a very different phalam, fruit. It is very temporary and it makes us addicted. In fact, many people proudly mark on their intake forms as patients. Any addictions? No. It's laughable. Any addiction? Yes. We should all mark. What? Addiction for desire, fulfillment, so that I can be happy. So the pleasure sourced happiness, Vishayananda, is dependent, whereas Atmananda is independent. Vishayananda is dependent on what? People, situations, events, destiny, luck, other people's intentions, other people's idiosyncrasies. Atmananda, independent, swatantrata. It's always there and it's infinite. So, therefore, once we realize through the satsang that my happiness no one can take, and when I'm having a difficult time, I'm going to find a quiet place to close my eyes and try to go within and remember that I am a source of happiness. If you experiment, see what happens. As you separate from the world as the bar that's going to give you the happiness wine, and as you go within, you withdraw. There's some withdrawing, not as in you have to go to the Himalayan top of the mountain and then you have to meditate. Yes. Withdrawing from the situation to not manipulate it, to not bat it with something, and to not shoot yourself because you couldn't get any happiness. And not become depressed and a victim or manic and an aggressor. But just know and then see if there is some way of connecting to this happiness. And even this intellectual part, that I am nothing but happiness. I find it so liberating. It has made me so courageous. Personally, in my life, it has made me completely independent. I've stopped being a people pleaser, which we all are, not just you or you or you. Everyone. People pleaser. Even God pleaser. Some of us will say we'll do a bigger puja, bigger ritual. We can get more happiness. So the Shraddha is also being manipulated. Dharma is being manipulated. But if I know that God, Brahman, dwells in me as Atman, and Brahman and Atman, which is one, is nothing but infinite happiness. And that in fact every little happiness that I experience, including I'm hungry, my mind is restless, I put the first bite of food in my tongue and everything becomes saturated, mind becomes quiet. That is a nirvana moment. At that moment, happiness is being experienced through your whole being. It is spreading. That 1 teaspoon of rice and dal cannot do it. You've had it other times too. But when you have it, when your mind quietens, that time it's like an explosion. Similarly, some people started worshipping sex. Took it out of proportion. At that peak moment, at a special peak moment, when the mind becomes quiet, the being of the participant in the sexual act becomes saturated with the self. So some people decided to make sex as the way for happiness and self-realization and then totally took it somewhere else. But let's come to the root of it. Whatever can quieten the mind enough so it stops morphing into the next desire, but just folds back into the womb of the self. At that time, what is left but happiness? And the moment we have had some kind of desire fulfillment and we are feeling happy, and those desires are very small, so let you not fool yourself. I have no desires, I am free of desires. They'll be subtler and subtler, and there'll be the desire sitting there like a serpent. And when it raises its hood, that's it, happiness over. So therefore, this pleasure seeking, there can be spiritual pleasure seeking, material pleasure seeking, which comes with pain, contrasts it to Atma Ananda, which is free, which is infinite, which is always there, and there is nobody can take it from you. So it is pain free. It is so natural that you cannot lose it, like fire cannot lose its brilliance. And if happiness is indeed our true nature, you say, Shunyaji, then why did I have to wait so long to hear it? And what can I do to really operate from it? Touch it when I want to. All the time have this circuit on so that I can go through life and just be constantly feeding off of an inner straw into my true self, which is just nothing but a Shakti Kunja, a Punja, like a Samu, a Pinda, a whole collection of an infinite source of happiness. And you say I have all of that, and I'm feeling so down. I'm about to go to my therapist and I'm wanting a special time from you to discuss my problems. What happened here? Well, you're studying in Ayurveda about Srotorod. There are 3 kinds of blockages that can happen, which you as a spiritual student at Vedika, learning Ayurveda, Yoga and Vedanta are now ready to hear about. There is some sadhana involved, and just like ghee is lying latent in the milk, but you leave it alone, the milk will rot, ghee will not be formed. You have to do manthan, you have to do the boiling, you have a process, a procedure, and then ghee comes out. Similarly, in the beginning, just to enroll in a Gurukulam or read a text or get up early in the morning, well, that helps. But things which are non-aligned to the process and understanding what are the blocks to the process are very instrumental. So we do some sadhana around it, very focused, work around it at the psychological, subtle realm, and we begin to then welcome unobstructed, armor-free, blockage-free, vital freeway between the Jiva and the Atma, an infinite amount of Atma Ananda or happiness is flowing through us, and then the Jiva can stay in this life experiencing pleasure and pain, or pleasure mixed with pain, or more pleasure, less pain, more pain, less pleasure, all permutation combinations of it based upon prarabdha, what is in their karma, destiny, and purushartha, what they employ by free will. But their basic birthright of happiness cannot be taken away, says our Upanishads, Vedanta. So with that I end. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamodachyate Purnasya Purnam